To get to Tinkercad, we're going to open up Google Chrome and we're going to type in tinkercad.com, tinkercad.com, and hit enter. Once we get Tinkercad, over on the top right side, we're going to hit sign up. Obviously, if you've already set up an account, you would hit sign in. We're in the United States, and you need to put your birth date in there, month, day, and year, and hit next. Now, if you are a certain age, it does not require a parent email, so you can just put your own email address in there. I suggest using the school one, and I also suggest using your school password, so your initials followed by your lunch code, and then you have to hit I agree and create the account. If you are not a certain age, then it requires a parent email account. So you would type your username, so you're 5 and 3, 5 of your last name, 3 of your first name, and then your password. Again, I suggest your initials followed by your lunch code. It's easy to remember, and I know what it is, or I have access to it. And then your parent email, you're going to put Mr. Willis's email address, WILLIAL2 at USD437.net. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and do WRTech 2017 and set the password. Again, the email address is Mr. Willis's. You have to click I agree and then create the account. Once you've created the account, if you had to enter Mr. Willis's email address, it requires a classroom code to get approved. The code should be up on the chalkboard up front. This one is KJJ8017C, but each code is only good for 1 week. So make sure to look up on the chalkboard to figure out which one it is. Once in Tinkercad, you want to click on Learn at the top. And down below, you'll see the step-by-step lessons. We're going to work through these 6 lessons. So we'll start with learning the moves. In this lesson, it's just going to teach you about picking an object and moving it. Over on the left side, you see the instructions. It explains word by word, step by step, what to do. So we need to click on the brown tower piece, and we're going to get it selected. You can see it has the box down below, so it is now selected. I can click on it and move my mouse, and it drags it over. Now I have to click and hold on the mouse in order to drag it. Hit next, and I've finished the tutorial. That is how you move an object. For the next one, we are going to be doing camera controls. So there's a curtain here, and the lesson, it wants you to figure out who is what behind the curtain. If you look in the top left of the work screen, there's the cube that says top and front. If I click on it and drag it, it rotates everything that I'm viewing. Kind of appears that we have Elvis behind the curtain, but this is how you can rotate the views. I can zoom in and out by using the plus and minus sign. Again, just rotate by using that button. To get back to the main menu, I can actually just click up on the Tinkercad button, and this is where you will have your designs. Once you've finished all of the tutorials, those 6 tutorials, you can click Create New Design, and this is where you'll start to build your own project. Up at the top, we have the name of the file. By double clicking up there, I'm able to change it to my username and then 3D. This is what you need to do for your files. You can, if you have a specific project that you're building, maybe a phone holder or a keychain, you can type your username and then put keychain at the end of it. On the right hand side we have our shapes, and you can just click on a shape and drag it in to start building your project. With the text one, I can actually just drag it over and change the text. So if I put Mr. Willis, I'm actually going to start making a keychain now. I don't need this cylinder, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. I don't need the pyramid, so I would delete it. By clicking on it and hitting the delete button, it goes away. I am going to use this rectangle though, because I want to build a base for my keychain. The letters, if I print those right now, it will be a sloppy mess because it's trying to print each individual letter. We want to have them all connected with a base. The red on red is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to change it to a lighter blue. If I grab that top right corner, I'm able to stretch that out, and it creates that base for me. Alright, rotate it around, check it out. Now, it's kind of hard to see it because it's up towards the top of the screen, so I'm going to create a box around all of it, and it selects it all. I can click and drag it, and it moves it together. Right, now to make it a keychain, I'm going to use this cylinder with the lines going through it, and that's called the hole tool. And what that will do is create a hole in the project. I'm going to group them all, so I want to make a big box around it. They're all selected. Oops, looks like it didn't quite grab all of them. Let's try it again, create the box. There we go. Go up to group button, and when I group them, it changes them all to the same color, and it finalizes it. So right here I have a keychain that has a hole in it for the key loop. If you look at the bottom there, it's all one solid piece, which is exactly what you want. Sometimes if the letters or something is sticking down low, by the way, you can use that black arrow right there to raise and lower projects. If there's letters sticking below like that, it will be a mess trying to print that. It won't work. So we need to have one solid piece underneath. Even if I have the letters like that, I still need to raise it up just a tad. There we go. And we're back to that one solid piece of plastic at the bottom. That will print a solid base for us and have a successful printing. Again, create a box around them, click on the group button, and I have a keychain ready to go. I can change the color to kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like with the different colored plastics. And that is the keychain. One other item that you can make is a phone stand. Sometimes people like to have phone stands for their desks. So if I grab a block, and I can use the hole tool, but I want to use the box, I can use it to create a different shape. So I'm going to line those up right there, and as soon as I group those, it's going to remove that section of that, and it's just created that different looking shape. I'm going to bring the triangle in here. To rotate it, I can use this arrow down here that sticks out, and just click it and drag it around until I rotate it at 90 degrees. I'm going to move it in there closer. I'm right clicking right now to rotate the view. You can do that a little easier. Move that out a little bit. So I now have a decent looking phone stand. I'm going to slide that over just a hair. And I could set my phone in there and it would sit at an angle while sitting on the desk. There we go. Group them so it's all one piece now. Now, maybe I want to be able to have a charger in there so I can charge while it's in the stand. So I can grab a cylinder tool here, and I'm going to rotate it so it's on its side. Move it over, and I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. So on the cylinder I have to shrink it that direction, and I also have to drop it down with that top box. Move it into place. And let's take a look. Yep, it's going all the way through, but I want to make sure I can get a charging cable through there, so I'm going to widen that out just a tad. There we go. And I want to raise it up so it's not messing up the base of the project. And we'll group it and kind of see what we got. So there's the opening for the charging cable. There we go. So the phone would sit in there and be able to charge while it's on my stand. I'm going to extend this back just a little bit more so that I can make sure I can get the charger cable all the way through there. Oops, didn't quite group it. I'm going to do that one more time here. There we go. Oh, and it looks like the wireless kicked me off, so I'm going to hit refresh and see if it goes back in. And we're good. One nice thing about Tinkercad is it does automatically save, so I don't have to go in and hit the save button every time. On the right hand side, you'll be able to choose from letters and different text values and things like that. The numbers are at the bottom of letters, different extras. Now the feet are one that we have had issues with in the past. Some students have tried to do the egg on top of the chicken feet, and we actually have a problem when it starts to print. The little legs are too skinny and they break off, and so do not use those chicken feet for your project. What you can do is go to shapes and create your own feet that are stronger. So I'm going to start with the cylinder, and I'm going to lower that down, and that basically is going to become the foot. And I'll grab another cylinder and create the leg. Narrow that down a little bit, and then from there I can drag it over, place it on there so I have my leg and foot. If I select both of those, I can move them together, and I can also hit Control C and Control V and it pastes them together. Line them up so I now have two legs with 2 feet. Create a box around them, and I'm going to hit Group, and it becomes one solid piece. So there's my new feet for my egg, and they're going to be a lot stronger than those other pre-made feet. It's all one solid piece on the bottom, so it should have no problem printing. When I'm done, I can go back to the main menu by clicking on Tinkercad, and if I ever need to work on my design again, I can click on the Tinkercad button, and it takes me back in to where, or Tinker This button takes me back in, and I can make edits. Again, remember to save your file with your username and then 3D. One last thing is we want to change the grid 2 inches. So you go to Edit Grid, and then the printing space that we have is 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So you would type in 3.5 and 3.5 and change the grid, and that is the workspace that we can print on. So if it doesn't fit on 3.5 by 3.5, you're not going to be able to print it. Alright, and you can shrink it down, you can do all kinds of different things to edit it, but that is the Tinkercad project.